Hi everybody, this is Ellen. Sorry for the darkness, but I wanted to show you something really cool before we started with the tutorial. We are going to do the hookless ornaments again. And this time, I really like how they look on Christmas lights. This is a clear jelly one, so I can just put it on to a Christmas light, and it looks fabulous. This is on a blue light, and sorry for my annoying this would be the green light. Maybe I need brighter lights, but because it looks still blue to me in the picture or in the camera, but I think it looks super cool and definitely add a little detail to your Christmas tree ornaments. So super cute. I did make a red jelly one and put it on a red light bulb. Looks pretty good. Add some sparkles, so just thought I'd show you that real quick, and then I'll turn the lights back on here so we can actually make it. But that's what I'm going to do with these. I think that'll be super cute and add some pizzazz to the tree. So I'll be right back with the lights. Lights on. So here's what they are in the light. It's just the, it's a very geometric type hooking process, I guess. It's just basically a lot of chaining to get the kind of pattern that, like this, that goes all the way around the little ornament. But I just slid the light into one of the kind of center of the chaining spots, and it turns into a fabulous little ball ornament. Of course, they do get a little misshapen. If you completely doubled the bands, then it would be a little bit more sturdy, but that would be a little rough on your fingers, so kind of if you want to try that, you certainly can do that, but keep that in mind. It'd be a lot more pulling, but we're going to show, or I'm going to show you how to make this. We're going to make it together. So this time will be gold. And we're going to start by taking everything in it is double banded. So 2 bands on the hook, wrap it around one time into that figure 8. Then take 2 bands and we're going to chain 9. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So you have the cap band and then 9 chains. Now what we're going to do is go back into that very first cap band or center that we had with our hook, and then we're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you got a little, almost looks like a circle or oval. Then take 2 bands and pull them through everything. Back on the hook. Then we're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to go back and find that center cap band again, put our hook through there, and then chain 4 again. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll take 2 bands through everything, back on the hook, and chain 4 again. And I realized as I've been doing this that I forgot to tell you how many bands are in this. If I've counted correctly, it's 124 bands for the entire ornament. For some reason I kept having a blank and I counted like 10 times, and I probably still have it wrong, but hopefully that's pretty close to what it was. But I guess showing the pretty lights distracted me. But I'll make sure it's in the description either way. So we have the chain 4, we'll go back into the center, chain 4 again, two, 3, and 4, and 2 bands through everything, back on the hook, chain 4 again, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and go back into the center, and then chain 4 again, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 2 bands through everything, back on the hook, then we'll chain 4 again, 2, 3, and 4. So now what we're going to do is you're going to go to your first chain that we did here, and you're going to count up to the 5th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's 5 up here. And you put your hook through there, and take 2 bands, pull it through everything on your hook. So you kind of, this is the bottom or top portion, however you're looking at it, of our ornament. So now we're going to chain 3 more. So 1, 2, and 3. So you have 4 total. Then what you're going to do is go into, we have the little spokes here of our kind of wheel looking thing, and at the very top of that we have the stitch right here. You're going to go in through there, and then you're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you can see the little triangle now on your hook. Take a band through everything, or 2 bands, back on your hook, then chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So then what we're going to do is we're going to kind of complete another triangle. So we're going to go back into that same spot we did before in this lower portion right here where the other one went in. Chain 4 again. Two, 3, 4. So you can see it starting. Then what we're going to do is we're going to leave all this on our hook still. We're going to come over into the next spoke part. So right here, put our hook in through the next part, chain another 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we're going to take 2 bands through everything. Back on the hook. And you see, here's what we've made for this round right there. So I'm going to chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to go into the same spot we were just in. Chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, we're going to go over to the top of the next little spoke here. Put our hook in through the top of that row here. Chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And take 2 bands through everything. Back on the hook. Now you can see what we've created now. There's the bottom portion. So this is our side row that we've been working on. So again, chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I really hope my counting doesn't mess you up, but I have to do it so I don't mess up. Through the chain 4. We're going to go back into the same spot we were in earlier in our kind of bottom part. And we chain 4 again. One, 2, 3, and 4. Then we're going to come across to the next spoke, find that top stitch, put our hook through there, and chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then 2 bands through everything. 1, 2, and back on the hook. And we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then again, we're going to come back into that same stitch we were working in before. Chain 4. 1, 2, broken, 3, and 4. And once again, we're going to come across to that very first join we did, where we started going over around. I know it's hard to tell at times where you're at because, well, using the same color makes it a little bit difficult, but just always try and find your bottom center. So then you can, once you have the bottom center, then it's much easier to tell our row that we're doing around and where we're at. But we're in our very first stitch when we started around for this row. So then you're going to pull up our chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And take a band through everything. Back on the hook. Then we're going to chain 4. Let's see what I have here. Hopefully we will see a little bit better on yours, but there is a little divot here where we know we have to fill in that last spot. And all these are kind of straight across. But chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we'll come across and we want to close up that last little triangle right there. So come over and go into the top of the triangle over. Pull up 2 bands through everything. Like that. So now all we have left is the top portion, so another little section like this. And I'm going to redo the 4 chains all the way around our little points here. And I'm going to actually leave them on my hook as I go around and just keep shoving them around. So as I go, at first it won't be so bad and to be able to definitely tell where I'm at. But as we get closer around to the side, then it gets squished up. But I just wanted to, it's the same pattern. So I'm going to chain 3 here to make up, because I already have 1. So 1, 2, and 3. And then it'll be the same way the rest of the way around. I'm going to find the top of the little triangle point from the last row, put my hook through there, and chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And like I said, I'm going to leave these on my hook, so I'll push them down a little bit so they're out of the way. And then we'll go in through the next one, that next triangle point, where you should be able to see the 5 points around, and I have 2 of them with 4 bands pulled up. So we're going through the next point, chain 4, two, 3, and 4. So 2 more left to go. So again, that last point, or not last point, but the next point of that triangle, go through there, and then chain up 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Move them up a little bit more. Now we have our last spot. Now our last spot. So you want to find the center of that, or the top of the triangle there. It gets a little, like I said, it gets kind of squishy as we get our last one. But as long as you're in the top of that triangle, you should be fine. And then do the chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you should have 5 chains on your hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And what you're going to do is take 2 bands and pull it through everything on your hook. So 1, 2, 3. Both ends on. Kind of spread them around a little bit so they're not overlapping or anything. Then do your slip knot. Like so. I'll need a little bit of tugging for shape. As far as the tail, I was tempted to use it as hanging for the ornament itself, but if you use the jelly bands, it's probably not a good idea. You want to tuck it in as best you can because it will jelly slides a lot easier than the opaque bands. So if you use the opaque, you probably would be fine, but jelly just kind of slides. So I actually just take the tail, kind of start pulling tight, and I keep weaving it around through the bands from our last little spokes for our ornament. That should be pretty well hidden. And then when I use the lights for it, I do not use that spot to put the light in, just so it doesn't come unraveled. But we have a sweet little ornament. It looks awesome on Christmas lights, I tell you. I think it does. I think a bunch of clear ones are in my future for looking awesome on my tree. That'll be my craft contribution this year. So, I hope you enjoy. They do take a little bit of finagling. If you get a goofy spot, then you'll have to fix it. But I think that's, well, it's the nature of bands, but I think it's worth it, so they're just super cute. But I love them. I hope you do too. If you make any of these, or especially if you put them on a tree or do something like Christmassy with them, or even non-Christmassy, I would love to see it. You can share that with me on my Instagram page, which is at Crafting Fantastic, on my Facebook page, which is feelinspiffy or Crafting Fantastic. There's a link underneath the video, and then of course it would be awesome if you would subscribe to my channel here so you can see when I'm coming out with new things, which I do pretty frequently. But thank you very much for watching, and I will definitely have more for you soon.